Ready to earn big with crypto? ZoomX, the exchange used by Crypto Blood in the first season of Trading Wars, introduces Pathway. Become your own KOL and turn your influence into profit. Invite 10 friends, become an affiliate, and pocket massive 30% commissions on trades. ZoomX, your pathway to crypto success. Visit ZoomX.com, link in the description below.
I'll write it and we'll do it live.
Okay. Ready? Right.
Fucking thing sucks. We'll do it live.
We'll do it live. Yes, indeed. Ladies and gents, we're doing it live. Welcome to, I don't know what we're calling this, bro. Right?
We're calling this a live stream. We're calling this an educational show that may be triggering to some.
Oh, it's going to be triggering. Oh, we know it. I don't even care. I never cared. Neither did you. So.
No.
I think that's why we work well together.
I do want to thank everybody for taking the time to join in. Yes, we have obviously definitely work well together. And I need to talk with you guys when we're done with this live stream about the Wise Man Wednesday tomorrow with Seth, coordinated time. And then after tomorrow, we can set like something regular. He just can't do anything until I think after a certain point. So we'll talk about that after the live stream. But that should be happening tomorrow. The 3 Wise Man Wednesday with the 2 of us joined by Seth from Mind Your Biz.
Mind your bitch. That's what I thought you were about to say.
So again, thanks for tuning in, everybody. Smash that like button. I'm live streaming on my YouTube channel, my X account. You're live streaming on your YouTube, your X, and your Rumble. So we have links for each other's channels, socials down below in the video description. So make sure you're following both of us and make sure you take an opportunity to smash that like button. And if you're watching this thing over on the X side, those reposts help bring more views.
They sure do. And shout out to my guy Offnear. What a wonderful, wonderful individual. He's been helping the channel for a few months now.
Super supportive,
super supportive and super supportive with the Coochie meme coin project. And it paid off for him, so I'm glad for him. He did well with that. He's doing well with that. So I got to add you Offnear to the list here, my friend. We got to put another $15 on your balance for this week's giveaway. So we're going to add that up to, where's my, okay, there we go. All right, and we're going to add that he contributed 5 memberships. Again,
every time I see the word, I see Blowfin, I think of McAfee. McAfee and his love for whales.
Huh?
His love for whales. McAfee
what kind of whales?
Like all whales, I guess. I don't know if there was a specific species of whales that he was more attracted to than the other. The way that he talks about it.
Oh, that's crazy. R.I.P. the great McAfee. You're going to be doing something hopefully soon, right? With a family member.
I'm actually going to be participating in part of a documentary that's being done. I'm not really going to say like right now who's putting it out, but I'm supposed to be filming an interview that I was going to be flying, but the budget's a little short, so I'm actually just going to be doing it remote. But there may be licensing.
Better tell them hoes to pay you.
They're going to be licensing videos. They're going to be putting a lot. I just wanted to make sure that there was emphasis on the fact that I was a content creator, links to my YouTube and my website. There's a couple things I discussed with them, but I'm trying to help make it a good documentary. I want to see something come out that's not more sensationalized with some bullshit endings that just get people to continue with these rumors that John is still alive when that's not the case. So these guys want to do something really respectful, and I definitely want to help out with that. Yeah.
So today's episode, guys, we are talking about not a prosecution, but a persecution. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but it took you a minute because you can't say that sentence very fast.
Not a prosecution. No, I can't.
It's just the whole, and it screwed me up when I was rewriting the words because they have it's basically the same word with just 2 different letter separation, so it totally messes people up when you're trying to read something like that. But
yeah, this morning You know, in our last conversation we had, I was saying I was disappointed in RFK Jr., right? And lo and behold, what happens this morning on Patrick Bet Davis
I don't know what
stream?
happened.
Well, he made a comment. Same thing I said. He said, I'm very disappointed in RFK Jr. I hope to see when he drops out that he extends his arm again. Not again, but extends
What,
his
to
arm
the
to
VP
the
or
Trump.
support?
Not as a VP at this
But just
point,
support,
but as
just
some
support.
position. No, some position
Oh, okay.
in Trump's cabinet.
What is Pete Buttigieg doing? He can have that position.
Right. Pete Buttigieg.
Yeah, man. Did you play? You didn't play that little clip that we put together, did you?
Which clip?
A little short one. I wasn't even paying attention.
Which clip?
The Trump thing.
No, I haven't. No, I haven't.
You want to play that, or do you want to get into
So-
some other stuff first?
We can play that. But I want to let people understand today's episode is a reaction video from a video I saved and bookmarked last week?
I think it came
3
out
days
like,
ago. Three
yeah,
days
it came
ago.
out
Came
like
out 3
Friday
days
or
ago.
Saturday.
I was sick as a dog, so I'm just trying to get all my days together. I watched it, and you guys know, Trump supporter, not a Trump worshiper, but a Trump supporter, right? And even this video blew me away, Rice. I knew that this case, along with all the other ones that got set up for him right now, conveniently right before the election. I knew all of it was nonsense, but
Yeah.
I didn't know the extent at which they
Of
bent the
of
law.
nonsense. Yeah.
Yeah. They bent the law for this to be, first of all, charged at a federal level, at Fed level, not a misdemeanor or
Or
whatever.
state level.
State level as a misdemeanor.
Well, it went state, not Fed, but it was a felony, not
Felony. That's what I
misdemeanor.
meant, not federal. Felony. The extent and the
34
overreaching.
felonies,
34. That's a whole nother situation.
which
Again,
is
Chris
even crazy
Martenson.
enough as it is.
Yeah, Chris Martenson, guys, is the person we're going to be
Peak prosperity.
reacting to. Peak Prosperity. I've been watching him since pre-pandemic
Oh man, we're
times.
gonna have to do another reaction video to the one of the, because he covers a lot with the Great Taking, and he did.
Yep.
He did. I think he did at least 2, but the most recent interview he did with the author, David Webb. But there was a middle name to it. I couldn't remember what it was offhand, but David Webb. He did a really cool interview with him where there's some stuff being introduced on state level. So this guy is actually impressed Webb because he was able to take the research even further and start talking to people that are managing funds for people that are in these situations that are going to have to deal with the ramifications of this if nothing is done to change it. And he also talks about some different pieces of legislation that have been brought on 2 different state levels here in the United States.
Now,
So,
Chris Martenson, I again followed for the financial guidance and just info. He was always putting out gems before the pandemic. When the pandemic happened, he turned his pathology doctorate degree on. Didn't even know he had a doctorate in pathology. And I was watching him all during the early stages of the pandemic. He dropped a lot of jewels, gave a lot of people heads up on everything that we're seeing now. He was researching, telling us about all that. But I say all that to say, Chris Martenson is not a Trump fan at all. He states that explicitly in this video. He's very concerned with this case and I think others, but
as
I wanted
people
to,
should be, as people
should be.
And we'll give
But
context too. I mean, I'm sorry to interrupt. Go ahead, man.
No, I want to watch this video because it is from an unbiased opinion or position. So I think it's a great one to watch.
Great choice. I actually seen it when it came out, and I rewatched it last night. And in addition, I mean, we're going to kind of give some context too, like as to what happened. Like, obviously, some people know that Donald Trump was found guilty of 34 counts of felonies, but it's kind of get a good understanding of what that is, and then get into the reaction of this video and kind of give other people's opinions, what you guys think, because most people know that I've been kind of on the sidelines, not supporting anybody. But I will say, if you stop showing the comments, you'll see what my name is today. Where's that?
Oh,
Where's my name?
no, I don't have any names up there.
Yeah,
today.
no names,
No
man.
names. Let's get the names up there.
There you go.
Red rice. Okay.
Red rice.
Okay.
Red rice.
All right, I like it. And who am I? I'm still Coochie Man.
You still Red Nugent, aka Coochie Man.
Red Nugent, aka Coochie Man. That's
So
right.
you know, I mean, it is good.
Some people call me Uncle Ruckus.
It is good to look at this from an unbiased perspective. But as far as, and we'll get into it, but our legal system has been very corrupt for quite some time. It's just now coming to more light. And there's a difference between, we can get into it in a video, but there's a difference between the word law and lawful and the word legal, because they're different. And you can have things that are illegal that are lawful, and things that are unlawful that are legal. So it's very weird territory, and it's all about, you know, changing the language definition of words. It's a completely different language that happens in a court system and on legal and business documentations, contracts. It's called legalese. And if people don't speak it and understand it, they think what this word means in our real life, in our common slave talk, doesn't mean the same thing to the high courts, to the black men in the men in the black robes.
Gotcha. Shout out to FD White. Haven't seen him in a while. Now, what do you think about this? And I'm hoping that this sheds light to people like AI who A1 who says this. The precedents it sets is and former politicians can be charged and convicted without protections of office, former or current.
Well, precedents weren't like a precedent is a previous judgment on a judge on a similar case. And in this particular sense, I don't think that pull that comment back up real quick. There's a lot of precedents and a lot of things that happen within our legal system that would have set precedents that was ignored. So
that's right. So that's what I'm saying.
We're in a completely unknown territory when it comes to what the law is going to use in their favor. And really, when it comes to this whole legal system, it's just being able to navigate through the waters successfully, knowing how to use these words and twist them around to mean something completely different. And that it's just a complete game that happens in a court system. And and we're going to see a lot more of this happen. What I'm really curious about is how this is going to go further, you know, because obviously Trump is appealing this, but is it going to go in front of the Supreme Court?
I would assume so.
So, and Chris Martenson, and we've got links in both of our video descriptions for the full video. Really kind of gives a lot of different perspective of what potentially could happen. So we don't need to feed in we don't need to feed into the anger and the negativity that they're trying to get the average everyday red-blooded American to get involved in. And we'll get into that.
Let's play this clip and then we'll go from there.
This was a disgrace. This was a rigged trial by a conflicted judge who was corrupt. It's a rigged trial, a disgrace. They wouldn't give us a venue change. We were at 5% or 6% in this district, in this area. This was a rigged, disgraceful trial. The real verdict is going to be November 5th by the people, and they know what happened here, and everybody knows what happened here.
Mr. President, can you tell us, sir, Donald Trump refers to himself as a political prisoner and blames you directly. What's your response to that, sir? Do you think the conviction will have an impact on the campaign? We'd love to hear your thoughts.
Did you like my little sound effects that I added to it?
Oh, you did that?
Yeah.
Oh man, you Steven Spielberg in the making.
That's what I was doing.
You. I didn't know you were Hollywood.
Yeah. So that I saw that video with his stare. I don't know what you even want to call it, but that was ballsy. That was very, very ballsy, and definitely makes him look a lot worse than he's intending for himself to look. So even people that just have an open mind, seeing that, would have to question. Like, that is not very presidential of you.
Man, That was funny. Now Trump, on the other hand, said he maybe used 6 words in that little speech there. He recycled the
Well,
same words over
I
and
think
over
that was
again.
like 19 seconds of like almost 2-minute
Oh,
thing
okay.
that because it was, and I've got the full thing that we can play here in just a few. You want me to go ahead and get that out of the way, or you want to get these other little two little stories I wanted to like throw up out of the way?
Let's do the stories. I'll share your screen right now
Okay.
so people can see what's going on here.
Just want to mention very quickly that we had a stock market glitch. People might have seen it. You talked about it yesterday, and we had this happen yesterday very early. There was a glitch that basically the Berkshire Hathaway stock went down 99% after this technical glitch, which has been corrected. But I didn't read through the article to see exactly what the price of the stock was before the drop, but I believe it was like a fairly high price. Here it is, $613,000.
Yeah, it's always been a very
And it traded
very
for under
expensive stock per
200,
share,
something like
because
that.
there aren't many.
It got down
Class
to
A.
$185.
Well,
Now, what I'm curious is the people that were able to capitalize and purchase shares at this price, were they able to keep the shares, or did they?
I don't
get
think any
taken
trades
away?
actually happened. I don't. I have to look further into that.
Okay. I just think it's kind of interesting, and I think we're going to probably see more things like this because they're going to be trying to push for tokenization of assets, and and they're already talking about blockchain being a solution to something like this. And me and you have talked about this for like the past year and a half now, maybe a little bit longer with the bank crisis that's been intensifying, and I've described it as a crack in a windshield, like when a rock hits your windshield on your vehicle, your car, your truck, as you're driving down the highway, and you don't do anything to fix it. You just leave it alone. That crack starts to spiderweb out, and it gets worse and worse and spiderwebs out to a point that anything can make it collapse, just like the straw that broke the camel's back. And now they're talking about more banks currently being in trouble. FDIC is talking about it. You guys can search on Twitter. I definitely encourage you to do some more research, and I'm going to be doing a little bit more digging into this. I think they said it was something like 64 banks. Do you remember the number by chance?
Not sure, bro.
Yeah, because it was some statement that came out in regards to the FDIC.
Not sure. You got it on your screen?
Yeah, I'm just kind of scrolling through my feed right now looking for it. And if anybody in the chat knows, yeah, here it is. 500. This is a really huge, large number. Is this a trillion? That's a billion. Million, billion. 517 billion in unrealized losses hits U.S. banking system as FDIC warns 63 lenders on the brink of insolvency. So we have 63 more banks looking to be insolvent, and that's just what we know of as far as publicly. So I've always been encouraging people, as far as when it comes to the bank stuff, to not leave in more than you need to leave in to cover your bills and expenses that you're planning on using, because it's going to be easier for you to deposit money than it will be for you to withdraw money. And some people have already been having problems withdrawing money and large amounts of money and things to that effect. So you can also look into credit unions. You can look into unbanking yourself, but don't deposit more in your bank than you're willing to lose. That's been the advice that I've been trying to give people. People say don't invest more than you're willing to lose. Don't deposit more in a bank than you're willing to lose. Just deposit what you need to cover your bills. Like before I made a deposit today, I had $32 and some change in my account. And I had to put money in so I can make sure that the bills that are going to come through are going to get covered. But I'd rather do that than have $5,000 sitting in the bank and need to get $2,000 of that, and then say, you need to give us advance notice and 4 business days.
Yep.
So yeah, it's very sad, man, and kind of where we're at when it comes to this stuff. I'm going to go ahead and pull up the video for the Donald Trump 2-minute. This is his reaction to the verdict right after he got out of court. And then after this, we can pull up that article that I have explaining some of the charges. And then we can get into the Chris Martenson video if you go with that.
Cool. Let's do it.
You worried about going to jail? This was a disgrace. This was a rigged trial by a conflicted judge who was corrupt. It's a rigged trial, a disgrace. They wouldn't give us a venue change. We were at 5% or 6% in this district, in this area. This was a rigged, disgraceful trial. But the real verdict is going to be November 5th by the people. And they know what happened here, and everybody knows what happened here. You have a Soros-backed DA and the whole thing. We didn't do a thing wrong. I'm a very innocent man, and it's okay. I'm fighting for our country. I'm fighting for our Constitution. Our whole country is being rigged right now. This was done by the Biden administration in order to wound or hurt an opponent, a political opponent. And I think it's just a disgrace. And we'll keep fighting. We'll fight till the end, and we'll win, because our country's gone to hell. We don't have the same country anymore. We have a divided mess. We're a nation in decline, serious decline. Millions and millions of people pouring into our country right now from prisons and from mental institutions, terrorists, and they're taking over our country. We have a country that's in big trouble. But this was a rigged decision right from day one, with a conflicted judge who should have never been allowed to try this case, never. And we will fight for our Constitution. This is long from over. Thank you very much.
Why should voters vote for a convicted felon?
Are you going to drop out?
Yo, so I think that was the shortest I've ever seen Donald Trump in a speech.
He was pissed.
Yeah, it was less than 2 minutes. It was pretty interesting. So let me get the screen share done.
Yeah, he was pissed.
And I will pull up the article, because now I think I was watching it. It was either Peacock or Paramount Plus that has a documentary called Stormy Daniels or something like that. And I watched it, and it's like 2 hours long. It's pretty interesting, but it doesn't give any indication. And it backs up with several different interviews where she definitely says that it was something that she didn't want to do, but it was not something that she was forced and coerced into doing. So the testimony that she gave at the court was kind of contradictory to things that she had said otherwise. And so this is from CBS News. What was Trump convicted of? The details on the 34 counts of his guilty verdict. So
by the way, the judge couldn't would not allow the jurors to know what the crime was.
Oh, I didn't know that. I knew that there was weird stipulations as far as like it didn't have to be 100% as far as the unanimous vote with the jury. There was several different things, and there were different people that were not allowed to testify that would have been very credible witnesses and giving very credible testimony. So if you could pull this back up on screen, let me go back to the screen here. So former president Donald Trump conviction in New York stemmed from a $130,000 hush money payment his attorney Michael Cohen made to an adult film star Stormy Daniels in the days before the 2016 election. Prosecutors said the deal was meant to keep voters in the dark about Daniels' allegations that she had sex with Trump years earlier, which he denies. And she denied several times in previous interviews and in the documentary thing that I had saw. But the actual charges that Trump faced were far less salacious and dealt with the comparatively mundane paperwork that was generated when he reimbursed Cohen for the payment. And this was back like in 2004, 2006 timeframe that this original event took place. So, I mean, it's quite some time that the actual sex event took place as far as like between Stormy Daniels and Donald Trump. So he was charged with 34 counts of falsification of business records in the first degree, which is a felony in New York, and he pleaded not guilty when he was arraigned last year. In 2017, Cohen and Alan Weisselberg, an executive at the Trump Organization, reached an agreement about how Cohen would be repaid for the $130,000 that he sent to Daniels in exchange for her silence. Cohen would receive $130,000 for Daniels' payment plus $50,000 intended for a technology company that did unrelated work for Trump. That amount was doubled to account for taxes that Cohen would have to pay on the income. Weisselberg then tacked on an extra $60,000 as a bonus for Cohen, who was upset that his regular year-end award had been cut. So I think he ended up having to do like some jail time, Cohen.
Mm-hmm.
He was convicted on some fraud-related charges in California, I think is what it was.
Mm-hmm.
Each of the 34 charges against Trump corresponded to a check, invoice, and voucher generated to reimburse Cohen. All of it. All of it goes back to just this. So why were these charges a felony under New York law? And that's why Trump was talking about change of venue. Under New York law, falsification of business records is a crime when the records are altered with an intent to defraud. To be charged as a felony, prosecutors must also show that the offender intended to commit another crime or aid or conceal another crime when falsifying records. But I'll add that it's completely all right for you to go into a store in New York City and steal under $1,000 worth of merchandise, and you'll get a misdemeanor. They will not be allowed to hold you and give you a bond. They'll just charge you and release you. Catch you and release.
Typical blue Democrat shit. Yep,
so it's okay to commit actual crime that harms people.
Mm-hmm.
It's all right to commit actual crime
bust out a
that
window
takes away from
in California. You can do blips. They call them blips. You can blip. You can go out there and bust out the windows, take people's stuff. You can do all this stuff.
But if you're in New York and you falsify your business records and it has the intent of possibly committing another crime or concealing or aiding another crime, then you can be convicted as a felon for a non-violent crime that technically caused no one any actual harm. No harm was
the DA brags. You know, his whole campaign was reducing felonies to misdemeanors. So that's been his track record. He's been reducing a lot of felonies, which the black community, we do. The justice system is horrible. Trump is just getting, he's not orange man.
It's horrible
no
just to
he's
poor
brown
people.
man.
No. Colors. Poor people.
No. We can't. We have to bifurcate. We got to differentiate. Yes, poor people, but specifically and more pronounced is poor or lower class black people or brown people.
I definitely see more black people in the court system and in prisons.
Yes. So he's doing that, reducing these felonies to misdemeanors. That's what he ran on. But then he goes and basically ups this from a misdemeanor to a felony.
Yeah. No, it's ridiculous.
And you can't tell me that's not election interference. That's all I'm saying.
Well, okay. Well, pull up this last part of this article here, because when will Trump be sentenced? And this is the interesting thing. Shortly after the verdict was handed down, Merchan, the judge, said Trump's sentencing date for July 11th, which is just days before the start of the Republican National Convention. Now, typically they'll give people time for sentencing, like or for turning yourself in, like usually with a crime like this, with a public figure or someone who's got the money to afford the right attorney. When you get the conviction, you could set up when you actually go in to turn yourself in to do the time. And sometimes it could be like 60 to 90 days, so you can get all your affairs straightened, things to that effect. It is possible that they don't do that, and that they could just put him in jail and he would miss the convention, which I'm sure that would cause a lot of stupid activity from people.
Of course. Why not? Come on now. This is blatant. Listen, blatant election interference. Now, to THC's point, okay, I'm fully with you. The problem is, if we didn't have a chance before, my nigga, we ain't got a chance in hell now.
Yeah, well, that's what a lot of people are saying.
That's what I'm trying to explain to you guys.
Not even coming out necessarily in support of Trump, but if
a
lot of people are saying if they can do this to Trump, they can do this to me. That reminds me of that that's that saying from, and I don't know it off the top of my head, from that German pastor, talks about if they come for the socialists and I wasn't a socialist and I didn't say anything. And then it comes down to, and when they came for me, there was no one to speak up. That's kind of like where I feel, and I think this video that Chris Martenson did on the Peak Prosperity channel raises a lot of interesting points. So I think this probably be a good opportunity to start that video. And again, let people know we do have the full video link down below. I think it's like a 30-minute video, something to that effect. And if you guys haven't smashed that like button, be sure to do that.
We're playing the whole video though, right?
That's what I thought we were doing.
Okay.
I'm just letting people know if they want to watch it without us, at some point. The video will be linked down below. Yeah, and also to go show some love to the Peak Prosperity channel, because I would love to get Chris Martenson on for multiple reasons.
And I thought about reaching out to him because a lot of the guests that I've had have been because he's had them first. Ted Seidel. I don't know if you knew that. Ted Seidel. I watched him on there.
So I interviewed a chick named Ann Vandersteel, and she used to work for what's the founder from Project Veritas? What's his name? James O'Keefe. She worked for James O'Keefe early on in both their careers, and she had started doing like independent media, and she started getting into the legal fiction law stuff that I was studying. She's also friends with Chris Martenson, and the two of them, along with I think Eric Weinstein, and
I like Eric Weinstein for the most part.
And a few others, they went together down to it was Panama, I think, about the border stuff. About the immigrants that are crossing over borders and following what's going on with that. So she was involved with that. Chris Martenson was involved with that. So Chris Martenson's following this border stuff. He's following this great taking stuff. He's very understanding with the legal system when it comes to what happened with Trump. So he gives a very interesting perspective. If you guys aren't already subscribed to his channel, make sure you guys take an opportunity to check out a channel that we both respect.
Yep, there for sure. So let's get started with this, Rice, and just give me a heads up if you need me to pause at any point.
Yep.
All right. Let's see.
Unmute it.
Yep,
see the mute button on, yeah.
Bad day for justice in America. In fact,
I can hear
the beginning of the end.
5 by 5.
Hello, everyone. Dr. Chris Martenson here. We're going to have to talk about the Trump thing, not because I'm an astute political or legal analyst, but because of the implications this is going to have. Remember, everything connects to everything else, and I'm going to connect this back to why I think there's a whole lot of trouble coming in the United States and by extension to the world because of this. Now, New York Times, they just couldn't help themselves. Of course, they are excited. New York in general is very excited to have finally convicted their nemesis, their great monster. They've done everything they can to pervert justice, and I will show you exactly why I think that's the case. Now, 34 counts, guilty. This is astonishing. So what was this case really about? I think that Jonathan Turley did a very
good... Can you hear me, Blood? I'm going to scream by myself and nobody's here. Is anybody else here? Is this just me? Is Blood here? Is Blood around?
Yeah, I can hear it.
Okay. Pull the video back up was great. I wanted to point something out. You need to hit the like button on this video, which you have not done yet, and that gives
not on this account. No, I don't usually watch YouTube from my Crypto Blood account.
Okay, well, do it, and then
job
that gives people a
capturing this in the Hill in this article here.
Is that what you wanted?
Yeah.
Oh my God!
I want you and everybody else hit that like button. That's what I wanted.
Preamble, I skipped over, get to this point where he said, quote, even before the jury instructions, the trial was controversial. Yes, it was controversial for both liberal and conservative commentators, both. At the start of the closing arguments, most honest observers were still wondering what the prosecutors were alleging as to the crime that Trump was allegedly concealing with the falsification of business records. What was this case about? Do you even know? It's kind of weird. Here's what it was about. This is from Alex Berenson's Substack. He wrote, in reality, the case depends on a raft of dubious propositions, including one, that companies shouldn't classify payments to a lawyer as legal expenses. That was one of the charges they inappropriately classified a payment to a lawyer as a legal expense. Candidates illegally influence elections if they try to hide negative information, which means every single election has been illegal up to this point, because, of course, campaign people try to hide negative information. It's what they do. Trump had no non-campaign related reasons to keep Stormy Daniels from telling her story. There was no it had to have been a campaign related reason. There were no other reasons that a man of his prominence would want to keep that little sordid affair under wraps. None. Only campaign. That could be the only thing. And finally, that New York State can bring a prosecution that turns on federal election laws. Folks, anybody who's cheering for the outcome of this verdict right here is an enemy of you, your family, this country. Full stop. It has nothing to do with Trump. I'm not a huge Trump fan. I think his record on the vaccination and his stance on it still is disqualifying. It's awful. His whole behavior.
So what you just said there, I completely agree with. As far as this not being about Trump, there's a psychological game behind this that makes it bigger than just being about Trump. But the fact that Trump is kind of the center point is kind of like the icing on the cake. I was looking it up. It was July of 2006 that they had met at the tournament in Nevada, and I think that same first day or first time period would have been in 2006 that this took place. 2006, which is 18 years ago.
Yeah.
That's insane to think about, because July is a month away for it to be, 18 years ago. I mean, and it's just, I mean, just this whole thing, it made no sense.
Bullshit.
And that's a good thing about this video, and I'm glad that you wanted to do this reaction, is because it brings some things that most people aren't going to put in perspective into perspective.
See, people think I'm one of those damn Uncle Ruckus, Coon, MAGA wearing hat. No, guys, you guys don't realize what's going on.
Where is your MAGA hat, dude? Like, I thought you had it.
I got two of them. I don't know where they are.
That's
I got the camo one.
Twice you're doing a video about Donald Trump and you don't have no MAGA hat.
Because I don't wear MAGA hats, really, in real life. I don't
like the style of the hat, man. Honestly.
That style of hat don't do good with me either, on my peanut ass head. But it's not about Trump. Like, this is what I'm trying to explain, and I guess I'm beating the dead horse here. Let's just let Chris Martenson explain it. He did it so eloquently. And
Rice
we
agrees.
Shut
Rice
our
agrees.
asses up.
You do have a peanut head.
Yeah. You ready?
Yeah.
During COVID, not great. His ability to pick people to surround himself with during his first term, not awesome, right? But nothing quite as bad as this perversion of justice we're seeing right here. And of course, what this has done is turned him into a martyr. This will guarantee a very strong outcome for Trump going forward, guaranteed. So a few oddities that Turley was noting in that Hill article, again, linked down below. Here's a lot of great oddities, but here's a few we're going to pick out. Let's look at this. Consider just a few highlights from the curious aspects of these deliberations. First, the judges ruled that the jury does not have to agree on what actually occurred in the case. You know that whole thing where the jury's supposed to agree 12-0 is guilty, anything else is a hung jury, and if they vote to acquit, they can acquit. Then we're just going to dispense with, gosh, is that how we've been running juries for like ever? That doesn't apply anymore because it's Trump. We got to just throw that right out the window. Judge Merchan ruled that the government had vaguely referenced 3 possible crimes that constitute the unlawful means used to influence the election: a federal election violation, the falsification of business records, and a tax violation. The jurors were told, they could split on what occurred. Maybe 4 jurors accepting each of the 3 possible outcomes in a 4-4-4 split. Court would still consider that a unanimous verdict, so long as they agree that it was in the furtherance of some crime.
Pause.
I kid you not. That's literally the jury instructions that went out. That has not been missed. The crime that Trump was alleged. So this guy, Merchan.
Okay. Take it back to where, like, the last thing you said.
Right here.
So this guy, Mershon, I think that's going to be, we're going to have to use that for some like completely like
Go back a little
terrible
further. I
thing.
can't see it on
Like
screen.
you're using a staple gun. You're like, I'm sorry, wrong guy, right? Shoots Lincoln, jumps off the balcony onto the stage, breaks his leg, runs out, and a doctor who he goes to see treats him. And that doctor's name was MUDD, Mud. To this day, you can say
You said go
your
back,
name
though.
is Mud. And
I
that
meant, like,
means
take the
you've
video
you've
back.
sullied your family's name
Going back
in
means
a
back in
comprehensive,
time.
multi-judge.
It was
We're
during
going to
the
use air
first-
quotes here. Judge
Here?
Mershon.
Back a little bit more because we haven't gotten to the part
this
yet.
is what an
Okay, right here. Right
how
here.
are we?
He talks about on screen here about the jurors. No, pull back. I need to see the video so I can read this. Okay, so it says that the jurors were told that they could split on what occurred, with 4 jurors accepting each of the 3 possible crimes in a 4-4-4 split. The court could still consider that a unanimous verdict, so as long as they agree that it was in furtherance of some crime. Now, I might be a little
some
bit
crime
lax
they
to this,
don't
but
know what crime it is. This I
there's a
think we're going to
jury.
get to that in here.
if there's a jury though, and they're making a verdict, and one of them says not guilty, and all the rest of them say guilty, that's not a unanimous decision, is it? I don't think they accept that. I think it has to be all their jurors agreeing. That's the reason why jurors get in fights and want to kill each other when some of them won't budge because they're stuck. It's I guess, is that what they call a hung jury?
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's strange, man.
To not have an actual jury have to be 100% unanimous, because the word unanimous is it's not. We're changing definitions again to words, man.
There we go, Ronald.
That or like we had some really serious CERN activity happen and Mandela effect, and we're in another alternate reality. I don't know. It could be all the above.
It could be all of the above, but I tell you what, it sounds real at 1984.
Whoever's running the simulations is really fucking with us.
He sure is. Sure is. All right, let's play this.
How did we get here? How are we? This is bad. And of course, it's even worse when you consider the implications, which we'll get to in a minute. This is the judge. We're going to use air quotes here. Judge Mershon. I would not be surprised if this gentleman they've got something on him. I guess I don't know, because I can't make sense of how he decided that he wanted these particular rulings to have his name associated with them for the rest of time. The way he conducted this particular sham trial, this kangaroo court thing, because that's the only ways I can describe it right now. It's like, you know, when John Wilkes Booth shoots Kennedy, I'm sorry, wrong guy, right? Shoots Lincoln, jumps off the balcony onto the stage, breaks his leg, runs out, and a doctor who he goes to see treats him, and that doctor's name was MUDD, Mud. To this
My
day,
name is
you
Mud.
can say your name is Mud, and that means you've sullied your family's name in a comprehensive, multi-generational kind of a way. So this guy Mershon, I think that's going to be, we're going to have to use that for some like completely like terrible thing, like you're using a staple gun, you're like dink 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 dink, and you accidentally like staple your leg to the chair.
You
like,
damn done restrained yourself.
I pulled a Mershon, right? That's how awful this is going to be, dude. You screwed up so comprehensively. I know.
You're such a
You think
Benedict
that
Arnold.
all your friends are going to tell you what a great and brave judge you are, and your little circle that you go to and sip your whatever's with at night, they're going to tell you, oh, you're an amazing person. History is going to look on you,
jackass.
dude. You have ruined your family
He
name.
looks like a Nazi.
That's how comprehensively bad this is. I mean, really bad. You Mershoned yourself. That's bad. 2, here's one from Judge Mershon. Second, the judge, Mershon, said that he would instruct the jury on the law, but then omitted key elements that were that established that there was no federal campaign violation, and blocked the legal expert, Ben Smith. And who's Ben? Oh, he's the former chair of the Federal Election Commission, who was going to testify that this could not have been a federal election violation, but he didn't allow Judge testimony to come into the court, because you know what, that might throw some confusion into what the outcome should be, and we already know what the outcome should be.
It would have made
guilty,
null and void.
Yep.
It would have it just would have completely dismissed like the whole fact of bringing this case to begin with. So it's like it's also a travesty when a judge can exclude certain witnesses that can actually help formulate what could be the truth to allow people to actually make an educated decision for themselves.
How is this even
think
possible?
critically. Imagine that blood in a world that we can think for ourselves and think critically.
How is this even possible that this environment has been staged by a judge in a U.S. court? How?
I blame it on Fetty Wap and Coochie Mane. Rice blames it on Fetty Wap and Coochie Mane.
Oh, this is
did
crazy, man.
Right. Moreover, even if Trump's legal settlement money could be viewed, even if it could have been viewed as a federal campaign contribution, it could not have been part of a conspiracy to influence the election, since any reporting of a contribution would have had to occur after the election.
Mm-hmm.
It's really hard to influence an election after
Hey, pause. You don't have
the
to put us up on
election.
screen. Just pause.
So
I want to say
at any rate,
THC,
there's many other oddities. Now, what happened was, you know,
I just want to say, he said no one had a problem when regular citizens were getting locked up with the same procedures. And I don't think that neither Blood nor myself are supporters of our current legal system. It's very much stacked up against the little man, the people of color, the people without money, the people, the have-nots. It's stacked against them, us.
Yes.
It's not. That's what I was saying earlier about this artificial language, this legalese that they've created, where words in their system mean a complete different thing than our slave talk that they've given us. It's almost like I talked about dog Latin, which back in the day was a what's the proper word? It's like a deformed base. It's a lower form of Latin that keeps people unintelligent because they don't know the true meaning of exactly what the words say. Dog Latin is a legal term as well. So it's dumbing down things, you know, and it's crazy that the language us slaves speak is not the language that's in the court. So when you go into court and you hear the judge and the lawyers say certain things, talk about it. Well, check out Rice Against the Grain in case you're not familiar with that channel. I haven't been putting out videos lately, but I will say I have a shit ton of videos that cover the subject of law. And Blood and I have done shows about that shit like 3 years ago now.
Yep.
Couple on your channel. So it's not a new subject to either one of us. It's just not something that we bring up in conversations because it's not very much related to the cryptocurrency economic space, the political climate. But this right here is putting a lot more attention because of who it's being done to. We've been talking about Donald Trump on the show in regards to his stance on cryptocurrency and how that's going to be playing out in the elections. And that's why I think a video like this deserves attention. If we can bring attention to other things in the process, so be it.
Yep.
You got these two ladies here. You can't see there's two, but there are the two ladies in this little video. Got an Arrest Trump clear backpack on there. Despite her
she
being,
had a wrist cramp.
Probably around 60, 70 years old. She's rocking the teenage look here on her backpack. Anyway, and channeling her glee with writing out all the counts down there. And, of course, there was much rejoicing. Now, for every reaction, of course, there's an equal and opposite reaction. And, oh, look, Lee Zeldin said here, just secured $800,000 donation from someone for President Trump's joint fundraising committee. Never experienced a massive ask that easy. Oh, so
if you want to pause that for a second, you could pull up on screen the screen share that I have. And yeah, so this comes from usnews.com. It talks about Trump and RSC raising $141 million in May, and a lot of that was boosted by the guilty verdict. The tally includes $53 million that the Trump campaign said it raised in the 24 hours after the New York jury convicted the former president of falsifying business records. So it's done nothing but
what does
strengthen.
Bet David always talk about? The market, right? You let the market determine and tell you who's right and who's wrong.
Right.
And the market is telling us that these guys are wrong.
Well, and there's also people that, because of this, I mean, there's people that have like pledged money now to Trump that used to donate to the Democratic Party. that are now, because of this, because of the fact that there has been an attack on a former president who's currently running for office and is pretty much leading in the polls. So it has to look very much like an attack on your political opponent, which is why Donald Trump is now coming out very interestingly calling himself a political prisoner.
Yeah, exactly.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy. But again, it's amplified him. And me and you have talked about this in the past. If they keep seeing it, everything they're doing is making Donald Trump stronger, and then they continue to do it. Are they really insane, or do they want Donald Trump to be president?
No. Wait a minute. They don't want Donald Trump in there. They're literally, it's what's it called? Trump derangement syndrome. That's what it is. TDS.
Oh, that's right. You suffer from it.
No, I suffer from BDS.
Oh, Biden derangement syndrome.
Yeah, not bowel.
No, someone said someone accused you of separating. It was the Trump one.
It was. That was a wrong categorization of crypto blood.
He didn't diagnose you correctly. Dr. Dre didn't give you a correct diagnosis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So hey, let's get back to this here.
BDS.
Chalk on the sidewalk, $800,000 from a single.
It's like a big dick swinging.
Of course, that reaction extended all the way to the Trump donation site. Those servers crashed. A second one set up by Donald Trump Jr. also crashed within hours, just overwhelmed with donors from all over the country. Those donors now poured in a whopping $39 million in 10 hours. Whoops. For all the people who thought that's it.
And that was all just small donors, like under $100.
Our white whale, we've harpooned it. Yeah, you're just about to go on a Nantucket sleigh ride now, apparently. Travis here writing, Michael Cohen admitted to lying under oath. He was one of the main people who were used by the prosecution in this case, Michael Cohen being the former attorney for Trump. Michael Cohen admitted to lying under oath and admitted to stealing from Trump. Of course, he's not guilty. Stormy Daniels admitted to sending a threatening text, literally extorting Trump. Extortion being a crime, not guilty. Judge Merchan donated to Trump's rival, and presided over the case, did not recuse himself, of course not guilty. Merchan's daughter received hundreds of thousands of dollars from Democrats, also not guilty. Donald Trump filed payments to a lawyer, So as he filed payments to a lawyer, guilty. What in the heck has happened to our country? Now, you want to know how serious it is? Donate to Trump actually overtook boobs as a Google search term for a brief, glorious moment in time. Folks, history has been made. Now that's serious right there.
That's like actually very monumental if you consider how many people search boobs, because people are perverts and people search for a lot of sick stuff, not even realizing that they've got a history of that, like in their little digital profile. But with that being said, yeah, man, it's crazy to think that more people were interested in this Trump verdict and what happened than God bless America boobs.
Very, very telling.
Very telling.
The market speaking.
I dove down into this thing called the Great Taking. Just a quick aside here for y'all. And, this whole idea of you'll own nothing and be happy in the Great Taking talks about how our wealth could actually be taken according to rules. And a lot hinges on this
is a good plug.
Followed by your broker and your brokerage account, right? Rule 15C3-3. Boring, right? No. This rule, as long as this rule is being vigorously followed and vigorously enforced, most people's brokerage accounts and wealth is safe, right? And it says that a broker or a dealer shall promptly obtain and shall thereafter maintain the physical possession or control. Control is a key word. Control of all fully paid securities and excess margin securities. It's a fancy thing. We'll explain that at some other point, or you could watch the episode I did on that. So for the accounts of customers. So that's it. It's a rule. Don't worry. The rule will be followed. Well, just learn about our court system. It's not really about the rules anymore. It's about political ideologies and insiders, and who's on the right team and who's on the wrong team. So guess what? You need to control your wealth. Now we can do a 2x2 grid. Trust in the legal system, ranging from low to high, right? And your control of your own assets, ranging from high over here, right? to low. Okay. Well, either you can have somewhere on this grid, you have high trust in the legal system and you have high control of your assets, or you have high trust in the legal system, low control of your assets. The place you never want to be is where you have low control over your own assets and you have a well-earned low.
I don't know if it's your internet or mine, but it was kind of locking up there for a second. I don't
So
think
we paused it.
Yeah. Because the internet was like chopping up. I wasn't sure if if we paused it, if it would like let it maybe catch up. Like we started having buffering issues.
Trust in the legal system.
Yeah, we talking the truth.
I think I've got mine fixed finally. That's why I'm asking.
Anybody relying, counting on, hoping on,
I didn't hear
otherwise
anything.
depending on the legal system being there for them.
Yeah, it was kind of locking up
in a time of crisis. Needs to really pay close
jargly.
attention to what's going on in the country right now, because the legal system is no longer a legal system. It doesn't decide on the laws. The laws are irrelevant now.
No longer a lawful
Case precedents,
system.
irrelevant.
It's always
Operating
been a
standards,
corrupt legal
irrelevant.
system.
Moral standards, irrelevant.
They just took the
Duty
law out of it.
of honor, irrelevant. None of that matters. So you have to decide for yourself, is your trust in the legal system high or is it low? And if it's
Very
low,
low.
you'd better get yourself over to this corner down here on that lower left where your control of your assets is high. And so that's exactly what we talk about how to do in our upcoming webinar, which is going to be, it's a live webinar on June 15th. And of course, it'll be recorded. You can always watch it after the fact, but just go to that URL down there, peak-prosperity.com/event2. And you can come to that. And we got all these experts coming in. David Rogers Webb, of course, the author of The Great Taking, will be there. Suzanne Trimbath. We got Jimmy Lovely, an amazing expert in legal things. Damian Lupo down the bottom. Paul Kiker, our wealth manager that we work with closely. Stephen Flood of Goldcore. Every one of these people has a way in which to help you understand either the risk or the response that you can take, because we're all about solutions. And if you can't remember that URL, just go to peakprosperity.com and you see down there anything in bright green you can click on and it takes you somewhere at our site. So you just go to upcoming events off the main webpage and you get there. Now, it's really important that we protect our wealth, people. This is beyond
Shout
serious
out to
at this
Dick
point.
Painter.
This is May 30th, 2024. I hope you always remember where you were that day. So, all right, the reactions. Well, thanks, Dick Painter. Dick Painter. I put his stuff up there because I just wanted to say Dick Painter. Dick Painter says Trump guilty, prison time not likely for these crimes, but the GOP must find another nominee. Americans will not elect a convicted felon to the White House. I think he's wrong about that. I think Americans will elect a convicted felon. Of course,
disabled.
We already have a person in the White House who's worse than that by every objective standard, at least if you follow his daughter's diary, right? But look who is Dick Painter. Just to say it one more time. Dick Painter is a law professor, former chief White House ethics lawyer. Chief White House ethics lawyer.
What does that mean?
You mean this guy, Mr. Ethics, working on, is it the ethics lawyer for the George W. Bush administration?
Not ethical.
You mean those people? You mean the administration that killed a million Iraqis with fake weapons of mass destruction stuff? To defend the nation, which is the politest I can be about like that. On 9/11? You mean that guy? Not sure you got a really strong ethics reputation to stand on there, Dick Painter. All right, it is this. Of course, this is a national Rorschach test. This Trump moment. So I don't know where you are on this whole thing. Kimberly Classic here saying Kim K. Baltimore at Twitter said this is a travesty, and clearly in America I no longer recognize. That's where I fall. This is not America I recognize. But of course, we have people on the other side going like Justice Now with a lot of emojis. Chris Justice 01 saying everything was fair and professional. Your spins only reflect poorly on you and your biased judgments. There you go. So this is really fractured.
I like
the country,
memories of Mike's comment.
and of course, which is what it was meant to do. If you followed my work, you know this is a rats in a cage moment. This is the point of all of this: is to get us divided, to get us fighting like this, like these two right here, with and among and across each other. It's not designed to help us find out that actually the whole system is corrupt, and is corrupt from the top down. And it doesn't really, it's not about which side you're on. There aren't sides here. You're either on the top of the pile or you're on the bottom of the pile. The thing that drives me nuts is watching people like Justice Now, Chris Justice, sitting firmly on the bottom of the pile, arguing that this is the best pile they can possibly conceive of. It's just a
what
failure
he just
of
said was
imagination.
really important.
Not impressive.
Because he's talking about, the fact that this case is bigger than it just being about just simply an attack on Trump. So, and I think that, he's about to get a little bit more into that, but I just want to emphasize the importance of the part that we just watched and what we're getting into. I think it's probably some of the most important stuff that you could take away from the video, in my opinion.
Robert Barnes, who I always love his take on things, I went right there to figure out what he was saying about this Trump verdict. He said, what a judge says doesn't make it law. What a jury says doesn't make it true. What a prosecutor or cop say doesn't make it fact. Remember this as the Trump verdict should teach us all. The corrupt accused him of being corrupt precisely because he isn't corrupt. Trump is innocent. Now, Robert's raising a very, very interesting point here, and a good one, which is that one of the main tactics that you will find in Saul Alinsky's Rules for Radicals, that is, people who are anarchists, socialists, communists, the rules, those sorts of radicals, lefty radicals, one of their prime rules is that you want to attack your opposition with your own worst character flaws. So we've seen this over and over and over again, right? Oh, you're anti-science, say the people promoting totally wholly untested, medical treatment vaccine thing, right?
Reverse psychology at its best.
You are the people who are the deplorables in this country, when in fact they're the ones who are going around doing some really awful things. So one of the things I've learned is that the keepers of the status quo, the narrative machine, one of its prime features is anything that it tells you have to really worry about is actually the thing they're doing themselves. It comes to us from an old line from Shakespeare, "Methink the senator doth protest too loudly." Meaning, what is this faux outrage over whatever it is that they are concerned about? Those are the things they're actually doing themselves. And it's just how it is. So the fact that that the left, the progressives, were so upset that Trump must be this corrupt person who's doing illegal things just tells me that there's a lot of corruption and illegality going on their side of the fence, because it's just how they roll. You want to see how bad it is? This is bad. Okay, track with me here, and let's take a quick look at this.
Mr. President, can you tell us, sir, Donald Trump refers to himself as a political prisoner and blames you directly. What's your response to that, sir?
Dun, dun, dun.
Do you think the conviction will have an impact on the campaign? We'd love to hear your thoughts, sir.
Should he be on the ballot?
I don't even know if there's anything like living inside of him.
No, not at all. Medication.
What's your reaction to that?
I mean, just that blank ass smirky
Maybe he didn't
stare.
hear the question. I mean, honestly, he's pretty senile at this point. But I think that was a fairly genuine response on his part.
Can you tell us, sir, Donald Trump refers to himself as a political prisoner and blames you directly. What's your response to that, sir?
Dun, dun.
That's a genuine smile.
Yeah, you actually kind of reminds me of. I gotta find the image first. Hold on.
He refers to.
What's the movie? Okay. I'm trying not to say things out loud as I'm typing so I can find a really good image. Yeah. Okay, so I could just pull it up.
Shout out to everybody in the building, especially over there on X. We've got right now 66 people on X.
I have found the truth.
36 people on X over on Rice's, and maybe 30 or so on YouTube, 20 or so
Talk
on
about
your
weekend at Biden's, right? It's not right. This is who Biden is. That smirk. That smirk reminds me of this guy.
Yeah, it's him.
You remember that movie?
Oh.
Poltergeist 2?
Oh, I thought you said Weekends at Barney's. I didn't see
this movie, dude. You got to go watch Poltergeist 2. It's kind of it's a little terrifying especially for little Rice watching it. I'm not gonna say Little Rice shit his pants, but
maybe.
Well, I did.
Himself as a political prisoner. Look at that as actual glee. That man is lit up.
Do you see the resemblance?
He's looking particularly happy. That is the cat that swallowed the bird right there.
Somebody needs to put
that man is feeling good. That's frisky. That is frisky. That's a nice. He looks younger. in that picture right there. That's
all that
literally
baby
where we're
blood
at.
he's
It
drinking.
is an open thing that we are now in the business in the United States of attacking and jailing and lawfaring. Instead of warfare, there's lawfare, using a weaponized Justice Department. And you know what? You know what's happening? You know what's happening amongst all the Republicans, the so-called Republicans in D.C.? They are writing some stern letters about this right now, and it will all be forgotten by next Tuesday. And it's just how it goes. It's very unfortunate, but we don't have a legitimate opposition party. We have a uniparty, and I put a pox on both houses. Anybody who stands for this and is in a position of authority to do something about this and just does nothing, or maybe writes a stern letter, or maybe demands that somebody come for a hearing in front of Congress where they will be asked some stern questions, and then nothing happens. There's no defunding, there's no firings, there's no jailings, no good. So I don't have a lot of hopes here. All right, the point of all this is just to strike fear, of course. Elon Musk, writing today with 274,000 likes at the time I pulled this morning, said, indeed, great damage was done today to the public's faith in the American legal system. If a former president can be criminally convicted over such a trivial matter, motivated by politics rather than justice, then anyone is at risk of a similar fate. That's the point. That is the point. The point is that you scare all of the little monkeys by taking out the one big chicken, right? That's an old Chinese proverb, right? Scare the monkey, kill the chicken.
Replace the monkey with the sheep.
Geiger Capital wrote, the first felony conviction of a former U.S. president wasn't for the Iraq or Afghanistan wars, or wasn't for any illegal CIA coups, or it wasn't for drone striking weddings, wasn't for spying on Americans. These things are actual heinous crimes. No, it's the misclassification of a legal expense, of an expense, right? So that this is hard to take in, but this should be your warning bell, okay? That's why I've been doing everything I've been doing at Peak Prosperity all these years, because I knew that things were going to speed up towards the end. That's what's happening. And why are they speeding up towards the end? I will submit to you, it's because we have giant, huge structural problems that cannot be fixed. We have a debt problem that's way too big to be fixed. Right. Where are all the insects out there? Hey, if you haven't been watching what's happening in the oil space, or copper, or silver, or farmland, there's a whole story there that's really big that we have to talk about. And if you're paying even the slightest bit of attention, you know that what we should be doing is having adults in the room having real big conversations about how we're going to navigate one of the most turbulent periods of time. And all we're actually getting out of the system is the divide and conquer, the warfare upon our minds, the breaking of our spirit, the demoralization. This is designed to demoralize. This is a national-sized perp walk, which is designed for you to understand that if you even get slightly out of line, you stand no chance. Because if a billionaire ex-president doesn't stand a chance, trust me, you stand no chance too. That's the point. That's how these people roll. Because remember now, what they're after here is your reaction to this. Your reaction is the target. The Saul Alinsky, writing again in that Rules for Radical book, which was so widely appreciated by Obama, by Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, they all said that Saul was like a great friend of theirs. The real action is the enemy's reaction. And then from a website that sort of pulls this forward, and obviously you can think which side of the spectrum this website might lie to, they say, when challenging a more powerful target, of course, the key to success often isn't what you do, not what you do, but how your target reacts to what you do. Therefore, anticipate your target's response and write it into your script. They're looking for a reaction. They're going to keep poking and poking and poking until they get the reaction. Then they get to react to the reaction and go, oh, look at all these violent people. Look at this. If you want to protest, if you want to say, hey, that last election didn't look fair, you might end up in prison in solitary confinement for a few decades, right? They're waiting for the reaction. But of course, no reaction is also a reaction at this stage. So it's really kind of a catch-22. It's a hard position to be in. So here's an example from one of these websites, Beautiful Trouble. They said, oh, Anarcha Panda, a popular...
if you could pull up my screen, I was doing a search. I've seen this yesterday. I don't know if you've seen anything about this, but I'm not a big fan of her, but she was spouting off about saying Representative Maxine Waters says Trump supporters should be investigated. are they preparing a civil war? Question mark. So, and it goes in a line with what Chris Martenson just said, because Chris Martenson just said it was looking at seeing what the reaction of people were going to be. So, are they, and they've been putting out this language for so long, and now it's like giving people a reason to actually, potentially want to go in that direction. So it's like predictive programming, conditioning, pushing us in this direction. Again, that's why I think this Donald Trump case and verdict was bigger than just Trump, because they knew, I mean, regardless, that this wasn't going to affect him being able to run for president. Right. They knew that like he could still run. So there was more to this. And the more that they can label individuals in a certain category, the more that they can target those individuals, the non-compliers, the non-sheep.
This is crazy right here. What Memories with Mike says. Look at that. I found out I stood no chance after going to custody court after I found my kids left alone for 13 plus hours at 6 years old, and then asked to lie about it, as well as her mother lying to the cops about it. And then he says, then I get told that I have a 47% chance or time. I don't know what that means. Then I got told that 47% of time was the best I could ever get. I don't know if it meant time with the kids.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's crazy.
I will say that, there's a lot of problems when it comes to, what is that called? The Department of Human Services that deals like child support, child, there's a word for it, but, I mean, and that goes back to some of the stuff that I've studied when it comes to the legal system and our birth certificates and what certain words mean, like the word parent in a legal definition. It's interesting if you actually look up what the actual word is. So people should do some research on these things, because anything that's legal, a contract, anything that's going to be considered that element, a ticket, before you sign it, all of that language is their legalese. And if you don't understand, or if you don't comprehend, that's what I should say, because I mean, words are powerful and words have meaning. And if you don't understand those meanings, you're going to get screwed over. And a lot of times what people have done with this whole system that we have is parents have signed away their rights of their children to the state, and the state grants them the right to rent the pair, the male and the female, to rent their child and take care of the child on behalf of the state.
Icon during the 2012 Quebec student protest drew police into the awkward optics of arresting a panda, right? So they're looking for the reaction because they're specifically seeking this, and there's cameras on that, right? No different than when the Trudeau government hired the LARPer to put a Nazi flag up and carry that around and then take some quick pictures of it and then hustle that person into a secure building so they wouldn't get attacked by the crowd, right? And then they just harped on that endlessly. Yeah, that's what they do, right? So just understand this is like a mini false flag event. And of course there are larger level false flag events, but the idea is that it is an action meant to deceive, to get a reaction out of the people you're trying to get the reaction out of. This is just politics by any other name. Now, here's another reaction that's happening. Here's George Behezy tweets writing, I usually only donate to local candidates because oftentimes they need it more, but I just activated a monthly donation to the Trump campaign following this sham. Guilty verdict. We must fight for Trump. So this isn't exactly the kind of person that the progressives would want to lose necessarily. That they want, because they're trying to maintain this idea that Trump is just this overt racist, which they can't support with anything other than the narrative of saying that over and over again. They don't really have anything to point to directly. And so when somebody like George signs up for Trump, of course, it begins to undercut their narrative. No worries. The Washington Post, where democracy goes to die, was on the case and writing about election 2020. They said, to understand Trump's support, we must think in terms of multiracial whiteness.
Multiracial?
That's confusing. Of course, what do you expect from the Washington Post, where democracy goes to die? That's a better tagline than democracy dies in darkness. But just off.
Because you like Trump.
Gotta
You're
ridicule these people.
multiracial white
Oh, this is so
blood.
stupid. All right. Jonathan Turley, writing after the
No
verdict
longer
came out, said,
black
I
anymore.
obviously disagree with this verdict, as do many others. I believe that the case will be reversed eventually, either in the state or federal systems. However, this was the worst expectation for a trial in Manhattan.
can't get
I'm
over the
saddened by the
multiracial
result.
white thing.
More for the New York legal system than the former president. I had hoped that the jurors might redeem the integrity of a system that has been used for political purposes. And Horse Whisperer is just a dyed-in-the-wool, everything through a binary lens. So obviously not a very calculating or interesting human being, but has a lot of followers because he's just partisan. I said, you didn't even hear the testimony, Jack. Right? It's just, again, divided country. My reaction, I now have to avoid everything New York related. That's it. I'm not going to New York. And I would advise everybody who's in New York to get out. There are good people in New York City. You got to go. Just get out. In New York State, just get out. I mean, this is bad. If you're in New York, you live in a state that has told you specifically they will destroy your life if you hold the wrong views, if you say the wrong thing, or if they just feel like it, or maybe they just woke up on the bed wrong that day, on the wrong side of the bed that day. So that's New York. Avoid New York. Be done with it. There should be consequences for this. Viva Frey, who I was just on his show a while ago. I'd like to get him on here to get his views on this, because this is a good view. George Bush killed at least 500,000 innocent Iraqis based on a lie. Obama illegally ran weapons to Mexican drug cartels and assassinated an American citizen. Bill Clinton bombed a medical facility in Sudan. Joe Biden allegedly molested his daughter and credibly sexually assaulted Tara
Not even
Reid.
allegedly.
But Trump.
Now it's in the diary, right?
The diary, I don't think the diary, I haven't read everything that's in it, but I don't think it talks about like anything to that effect. It talks about inappropriate things like taking a shower, naked and things like that. I don't know if it explicitly states, because he knows that at this point that anything in that diary is not alleged at this point, because she's admitted that it was her diary. So anything that's in that diary wouldn't be alleged. It would be, unless you want to say it just hasn't been found in court. But if a little girl writes it in a diary, I would say, unless there's something wrong with that child, which there probably is anyways, that it would not be alleged. But I don't think that there's anything specific about like him doing anything to her as far as that. Now, if I'm wrong and people do know, please correct me. And if you got links, for us to check out, I haven't read it in its entirety, but I haven't seen that language. I just heard there was just some very questionable and very inappropriate things.
Yeah,
and it's not his.
We don't have
blood
time
daughter.
to talk about. Maybe we'll do another video about the InfoWars and them attacking Alex again.
Did they take that? Did they take a studio?
I didn't.
Because that's what he was talking about, like Sunday, them shutting down the studio and taking all of his equipment.
Man, come on, ladies and gents.
As part of that billions that he owes for the.
If you don't see it on the wall right now, which direction we're going in this country, guys, you got to wake up. Got to wake up. Flashmax said, "I don't believe voting or democracy, and if you disagree, you can get out of my country. Freedom for all. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Nobody for president 2024.
That would be chaotic.
No, it wouldn't. It'd be the same thing. Think about it. No president means nothing.
What
about all run by the deep state?
What about replacing this shit with like transparent blockchain voting and allowing for us to vote for the things, and then
that's a change.
Get done.
That's a change. That won't happen.
Like we could actually, the whole reason of us having senators and congressmen is to represent their constituents, to represent people.
Yeah, we don't need. We don't
need that with this modern technology that we have now come into. Like it's just
they'll never allow that to happen.
Well,
senators and congressmen write the laws.
Maybe tomorrow with Seth, we could talk a little bit about this, because there was that post office patent for the blockchain voting, and apparently there was like just issues with it, and they decided not to go forward. But
of course there are issues.
That is something that we could bring up, because it is interesting enough that the post office decided to actually patent a protocol for blockchain voting. But apparently I think it had something to do with mail-in stuff as well as a combination. So,
All right, let's finish this up.
Is the first American president to be criminally convicted based on an alleged misclassification of an otherwise lawful payment. It's not just that the criminals are in charge, Viva writes here, they are rubbing criminality in the face of their victims. And again, this is actually designed to demoralize. When you have overt double standards like this. Now look, in law, two things matter a lot. The reality of the fairness of law and the appearance of fairness of the law. The reality and the appearance both actually matter. Sometimes you have to go forward with a case just for appearance's sake so that it looks like you are attempting to be fair and balanced. You just, once people lose the reality of fairness into the appearance of fairness, then why bother following laws? Why do it, right? Oh, it's a stop sign. Oh, that bank shouldn't be robbed. Oh, I shouldn't violently assault somebody on the street for no reason. This, what separates humans from pure anarchy? The law. But only if the law appears and actually is fair and balanced. And if you don't have that, then it's just a hop, skip, and a jump to anarchy. Now, of course, whoever these Saul Alinsky radicals are that are now infesting the White House, infecting the White House, these people are actually enemies of the country, and they've been doing everything they can to destroy the country. $1 trillion of new deficit, new debt taken on in just 100 days, a border that is still completely uncontained at this point. We haven't been talking about it lately, but there's still illegal migrants, not immigrants, migrants pouring over the border on a daily basis, many of them Chinese nationals. We have the absolute abandonment of any sense of morality. And oh, by the way, the thing I'm going to be talking about in part 2 with my subscribers is the exceedingly disturbing stuff that's coming out about the provocations that are happening towards Russia in and around the Ukraine theater, but also inside Russia itself, in a clear attempt to provoke a reaction from Russia that I believe, whoever these people are, they want a nuclear reaction. And I mean that very specifically from Russia. So they're dangerous, dangerous, dangerous people who are specifically attacking this country. Now, you want to talk about the double standards on all of this? How about this? Thomas Massey, dropping the truth bomb, said, Congressman paid $17 million of taxpayer money for undisclosed hush payments to cover up sexual harassment claims. Can't keep your hands off the interns. So hard. I know. So hard. Meanwhile, candidate Trump allegedly used his money, his own money, for $130,000 hush payment that was between two consulting adults, by the way.
Now, what about
and he's
that,
convicted
Bryce?
of 34 felonies for not disclosing it properly.
Wow.
That's hypocrisy. But what happened with the guy, with the congressman, and why didn't, pull it back up, did he mention the name? Congressman paid out.
Now, THC, you got to help us out on that one, bro.
I want to know
that one.
Because if CNN Politics wrote about it, then they had to have done something. It couldn't have just been a $17 million settlement. Couldn't have been just him paying a settlement. There had to have been, I would think, some other punishment to go along with it.
You think so? At this day and age, in this day and age,
I would think. Now, logically, I would think. That doesn't mean that just because CERN fucked with us and we crossed over to some different Earth, that's not the reality. Okay. I'm just saying, I'd like to know. So, when was
what?
That?
Come on. This is failing empire kind of stuff. This is Nero fiddling, Caligula. Folks, we're not over the tips of our skis. The tips of our skis have caught the mogul on the downhill side, and we are now, tumbling down a 40-degree slope. That's the feeling I have. So that's why, hey, come back with me, all my Peak Prosperity subscribers. Can't wait to talk to everybody about this. When the system breaks, we got to understand that, they in this story, they live in a world of abstractions, right? And the abstract, while reality is the thing that sets the rules. That's the problem. What do I mean by living in abstractions? Most of the people making these rules and setting all this stuff, they've never actually had a real job, right? They haven't plumbed anything, they haven't sawn anything, they haven't actually wrestled ore out of the ground and turned it into metal. They haven't done any of that stuff. Their parents were lawyers and who sent them to Brown, and they've been there, writing dissertations, and then they maybe worked at McKinsey for a while or at a law firm. They don't live in the world of reality. Reality is about to bite. The problem is where the administrative class is just shot full of people who wouldn't know a profit and loss statement from a hole in the ground, right? Or any other facet of reality. And while they're pushing their abstractions, like, oh, we have to save the climate, they don't understand the realities of farming. While they're out there, making sure that individual people don't say the wrong things and they're arguing over misinformation, malinformation, and disinformation, while they're doing all of those things, the insects are busy disappearing. And they wouldn't know why that's important because they didn't spend enough time outside and they haven't actually watched an ecosystem service thing stand up. They haven't spent a morning in a duck blind. They haven't, let alone, a whole fall, right? They don't know how the world works. They don't understand how food production actually works and what's involved. They don't know stuff. They just don't know stuff. It's like the pilot of our plane has never been in a plane before. And we're all supposed to be okay with that somehow. Well, I'm not okay with that. That's what I got to be talking about with my subscribers. Things are heating up, of course. Come on back. If you like information like this with appropriate context, you're going to love the crew we have and the work that we do at Peak Prosperity. So you are cordially invited to subscribe if you'd like to. And by the way, we make it risk-free. 30-day money-back guarantee. You will love it. I don't think we've given one back. I don't think we've had any redemptions yet. So with that, thank you very much for listening.
All right.
Yeah, I'm
go.
trying to figure out who the congressman is. It's really unclear. There was mention of Al Franken. That was 2006. So I don't think that had anything to do with it. And then I saw something about some Congressional Accountability Act.
Well, we all know, to Jay Crypto's point, this will be thrown out, just like every other attack. And, they said he Russian colluded and all that, and perjury, everything he's done or alleged to have done has been thrown out. The track record, ladies and gentlemen.
Can they
So the
sentence
problem
him?
is, the issue is, they're trying to leverage this again for election reasons. To your point about the his appearance that he's supposed to be
at the RNC.
The RNC.
Yeah, because what I'm wondering is, can they arrest him and then the appeal may go through? Like he could sit in jail waiting on the appeal.
How do you?
So that's going to be interesting.
In jail that has Secret Service.
And I don't know if you get to keep Secret Service while you're in jail.
Yes, you have at all times.
Okay.
Yep, at all times. So that's another thing that's like.
Well, dude, I think this is a great stream. I think it gives some people, something to think about, especially people who, may not support Trump, because, here's what, I'm going to come out and say it, with that. I don't have to be diddied, but I'm not going to get registered to vote. I'm not participating in that, but I will say that at this point, I have to support Trump, especially with the attacks that they're doing to him, which is completely un-American. It's completely to me, it's illegal. It's anti-American. It's unethical. It makes our country look bad, and it says volumes as far as the threat that they feel like Donald Trump has against them. And I don't support Biden in any context. So at this point, I had to think that the Biden administration is using their power in a very unethical and wrong way, very un-American way, and going against everything that America stands for, and finding a former president who's currently running the opponent against the current sitting president and attack him on a legal basis the way that they have, the way that everything's been set up. This could have been brought sooner. Obviously the timing was on purpose. And the multiple different cases, all the timing was all done on purpose. So it's a travesty, and people should really be embarrassed. And I think that at this point, we should demand that. I don't want to say pull Biden out of office, because that would automatically make Kamala, the Ugandan giant Harris, the president. And I'm not. I'd rather have weekend at Biden's for the next few months.
That's sad to say.
Yeah. Well,
all right, guys. It's been a pleasure. Let us know in the comments, if you're watching on YouTube and on Rumble, what you felt about this stream. do you think this is definitely, did the stream sway you a little bit? Did it enlighten you? Did you find out more information about Trump's trial or not? Let us know. I want to know all your thoughts.
Take Trump
good or
out of the
bad.
equation and just look at what happened on a legal basis and tell us your thoughts on that. If you're not a Trump supporter or don't believe tell us what you think. But I would like to hear everybody's honest opinion in the comments below. Make sure you subscribe to both of our channels, and thanks for watching today. And we'll be going live tomorrow, so stay tuned for 3 Wise Man Wednesday with Seth from On Your Biz. Holla.
I'll write it and we'll do it live.
Okay. Ready?
Fucking thing sucks. We'll do it live.
Okay.